Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Just a quick one to follow up from what I said previously about the Women's World Cup, because we have this from the reality check team by the BBC News. Women's World Cup, what is the pay gap? Because you know, obviously, that when women get paid less than men, it's because of sexism, and when they get more non-financial goods, then it's because they're doing unpaid work or something like that, like housework, even though they've been doing less of that and men have been doing more of that, even though men have been working harder as well. But anyway, so it says women's football is fast growing in popularity, with the global viewing audience for the Women's World Cup expected to reach up to 1 billion. But the players themselves are increasingly questioning the levels of earnings and prize money they receive compared to their male counterparts. They even suggest, from Hope Solo, US World Cup winner, that women's prize money shows that male chauvinism is entrenched in FIFA football's governing body. Yes, it can't be because you're actually worse at something and the people don't wish to watch you and support you financially. It's got to be because of the patriarchy and because you're being put down, not because people don't like you. It's like if you have bullied at school, it's like, yes, that's because you didn't understand my intellect. My IQ is over 1,000. So yeah, that's not going to cut it, guys. That kind of just shows why you're unpopular, if you feel that entitled. But how is prize money getting awarded? Winners from France will receive $4 million, double the amount of the previous tournament. We have a little graph of how it's increased. There we are, from 2007 to 2019. Exponential increase, good on you, well done. But the players get all the prize money? No, they don't. Arrangements are generally agreed with the players' union and not revealed publicly. But FIFA is putting in more money, $400 to $500 million directly into the women's game to promote it. I know that women spend more money than men do, which is odd if women earn less. How do they get that money? Oh, they're being given it by the men who are earning it. Oh no, women aren't earning as much. No, but they're being given a lot more. Demanding a fairer deal. Oh, what, equal pay for unequal work? Yeah. So Nigerian team staged a sit-in protest at a hotel in 2016 over outstanding payments after winning the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. 2018 deal in New Zealand led to the men's and women's teams receiving the same payments and equal prize money for unequal work, while representing the national team. In Norway in 2017, men and women started to receive the same pay for representing their country, and the Dutch Football Association recently came to an agreement that it will see commercial compensation for players grow, eventually aiming to match those of their male counterparts between 2021 and 2023. Vivian Medema, on behalf of the Dutch Players' Council, said, "We are very satisfied with the new agreements. Good, finally, some gratitude, which are a step towards an equal appreciation for both men and women." In which case you're saying there are gender differences. That's great, but I'm all for the individual, so I don't see why you're going to do that, because the obvious conclusion of collectivism and groups is then individuality, because if you break people down by their collective groups and traits, then you come down to the individual, so you do reach the same conclusion. But when they say that nearly 1 billion people are going to watch the Female Football World Cup because it's becoming that popular, as they do mention, with the global viewing audience for the Women's World Cup expected to reach 1 billion, well, compared to the men's, which was more than 3.5 billion, but if we look to how many people actually have TVs, best I can find is from The Guardian this is the Olympic opening ceremony from 2012, I believe. And they say the world has 7 billion people, live in 1.9 billion households, on average has 3.68 people in each of them. Around 2.5 billion people don't even have access to television. And obviously people don't all have the same interests, so you might think, 3.5 billion to 1 billion. Okay, that's substantially more, but it's 3.5 times more, so shouldn't they be receiving 3.5 times more money? Well, no, because it's done more as a percentage of people who can watch it, have interest in it, and then are actually going to be spending money supporting it or supporting the sponsors of the game. And these kind of figures show that it actually makes a lot more sense. Well, it makes as much sense as is immediately obvious, and then it makes more sense than just a brief look into it to say, well, that's not quite fair because you have, nearly a third as many people watching the women's game as the men's game. But anyway, that's about it for me. So I will see you next time. Thanks very much and have a good evening.